Mayor, council members. State my name, Ed Button. I'm Fire Chief for Moscow Volunteer Fire Department and Moscow Rural Fire District. And I always look forward to this evening. If I can get my... Hello. We'll do that then. Get this thing up. Like I said, my name's Ed Button. I'm Fire Chief for Moscow Volunteer Fire Department. And this is basically our yearly report, commission report to the City Council. Also integrated into this is our false alarm report that we've been doing in conjunction with this. And I'm just real proud to be here to represent all these wonderful people that give so much to the community. Timing was off a little bit ago, but just a few minutes ago we heard a siren go by. It was either an ambulance or a fire truck, and it was a great segue into this report. And I'll get started. This is an organization that I feel has a service to the community like no other. It's a volunteering success story. A lot of departments across the country are having a tough time getting people to volunteer for fire and EMS service to their communities. Frequently you go through communities and you'll see a sign on the edge of town that's welcome to my community, and the next sign is please come and volunteer, be a firefighter or an EMT. And in Moscow, we have waiting lines to get in. In fact, I took an application today from a young man who wants to be part of our ambulance corporation. If you look at the membership numbers, we frequently take a tally of who's who in our department, and as of the 27th, we have 104 people in the organization. Some people wear multiple hats. And if you look at the numbers from the ambulance side of the house, last year we did 1,582 calls. That's quite a few. Also last year, 960 fire department responses, and that includes the city and the rural. And down a little bit from the year in 2012, but we'll be talking about some of the possible reasons for that too. And what does that mean? Look at it's been a few years ago since we had some large-scale fires, is what I call them. But we had two big fires from years ago. We had 42 people on scene, and there's very few fire departments that can match those numbers without calling mutual aid. And so it's amazing what takes place here. One thing, it's a cliche, feather in your cap, whatever you want to call it, but we have just finished an audit this last summer that classified everything within the department as well as some public works qualities like water supply and things like that. And last time it was done was 6 years ago, and we had won a defense classification 3, and we successfully defended that. And there isn't a community in the state that has a better than a 3 classification. So it's pretty amazing what we're doing here. We'll go through this real quick. Not a lot of people know that the Volunteer Fire Department's a nonprofit corporation. In addition to be fire chief, I am also the member of the board of directors as a president. And how the city is integrated into the volunteer program or vice versa, the volunteers own Station 1 downtown. A lot of people don't realize that. We jointly own Station 2, and the city up on North Main, edge of town, the city owns that, with cooperation with the rural fire district as well. So it's amazing the integration here and the cooperation. I'd like to speak to the spirit of volunteerism here. You can just see the example of the ambulance. The volunteers own the ambulance service in the community. Now, from a fire side, the volunteers contract with the city to provide manpower. The city owns the trucks and the equipment, and it's pretty unique. It's not totally unique in the country. There's other examples of this, but you don't see very many places that have this type of cooperation and type of arrangement. And it's kind of fun to see what the volunteers did with the local community pride in the last ambulance that we purchased. Here's a key program that helps, in my opinion, keep the program volunteer in the city, is our student resident firefighter program. The thing's over 60 years old. We run from 22 to 24 students in our 3 stations, and we provide them with training and opportunity to grow and do things that they wouldn't get anywhere else. And it's been an amazing program that helps with our Defense Classification 3, and it really helps with our response times. As we see the next slide, the NFPA Association is a program where they create standards over a wide variety of areas. But in suburban communities served by like a volunteer department, the standard is response time. They want 10 minutes, 10 firefighters within 10 minutes on scene. And what do? In 2013, we responded within 5 minutes and 33 seconds on a fire and rescue responses. And typically, we put 20 to 30 people on scene, and that was with a generally working structure fire. So we're meeting and exceeding the standards nationally, so we're doing a very good job here, if I don't say so myself. What does it take to volunteer? It takes some training. This is a complicated world we live in, and we continually get added tasks and responsibilities. To become an EMT, estimated 110 training hours. Actually, I believe it's more than that. You'll end up spending more time than that, but on paper, that's what it is. To become a firefighter 1, our basic recruit class, that's what we do, is approximately 142, 143 hours. And then there's continuing ed. We have to stay sharp. There's always new things to learn, and we don't always have the big fire, and that's a good thing. So we have to train and to be ready and to keep everybody sharp. And exercises, that's another way. There's learn to cooperate with our mutual aid partners, and also pull out all the equipment and use it in a simulated exercise. And we've done quite a few of these, and just for brevity, put up a few, but we've includes active shooter exercises, and a big one is our sober graduation that we've been doing for a few years. One thing that of note was that zombie mass casualty exercise got national exposure. It was, it was kind of silly in a way, but some people across the country took particular offense to that, but it's a common theme across the country. We wanted a mass casualty exercise, but without a gruesome type of like a mass shooting or a plane wreck scenario. So we had to have a reason, so of why everyone was hurt. But so we used that theme, and it worked. Again, the volunteers own station number 1, and this is just an example of some of the things that we've done with the critical infrastructure that is part of Moscow. And as landlords, the volunteers have to maintain the building, and you can see some of these items that we've done over the years. I've included them in my presentation just to show you how responsibilities and the examples of responsible ownership of this critical infrastructure. And it continues on. It's almost, these could be classified as historic buildings, but we've chosen not to go that direction because there's some things that kind of tie your hands. But we have been real responsible with this property, and I think this is a good example of it. And one thing that's a project in process, we're working with the city. We're putting in an emergency generator in the time of power outages or disaster, whatever. We'll be able to still operate this building and respond to the community needs. And we got a couple examples of some future projects. As always, the popular false alarm report. This is a program that has turned out to be it's doing what I hoped it would. It's we've had some extreme levels of false alarms over the years, and it was time to put in a false alarm ordinance and a resolution. And it's we're very serious about this, but we're use a lot of discretion, and we examine each case on an individual basis. The fire marshal and I look at all these, and we review them before any citations are given. And here's some examples of what some of the false alarms come from. Now, I should say this has helped a lot with some building maintenance and system maintenance by some of the components and businesses and residences on campus. And so it's been a good program. As it says at the bottom, it's not to generate revenue. It's to get some compliance and some safe and sane practices here, or whatever it say. We did this. We started it in 2010, and I went the wrong way, didn't I? Here we go. Our intent was to educate people. And there's a lot of serious impacts and the hazards. We don't want fire trucks, police cars, and ambulances going through town with the lights and sirens all the time. There's also some of the biggest fires I've ever been on started out as a little bit of smoke coming out of like electrical outlet. And if you continue to have apathy from people by not taking some of these false alarms serious, eventually you could have some serious ramifications. And we don't want that. So there was a real need there, too. Here's the fee schedule that we've, as the council approved, and this is what we use to this day. The first two are free. And as you move up, there's a small fee. If you looked at some of my colleagues around the country, if they saw what we were charging for false alarms, they would probably get a little bit of a chuckle because it's not that much. There's a lot of places that charge a lot more. But this has been enough, and at this point in time, I don't advise increasing it because it seems to be working. Here's some numbers. This is what it was in 2009, and now look at it at 2013. And we're seeing some positive results that just the numbers are clearly indicated. And there's a chart, and I've noticed it because I'm not getting chased out of my shower first thing in the morning as much as I used to in the old days. So we got some good trends going here. We'll always have some false alarms, but a lot of them are by these various detectors. Now I've got 13% by malicious and intentional false alarms. Sometimes you'll have a baby in mom's arms reach over and pull the fire alarm, and that falls into the 13%. But anyway, those are the numbers that we've seen this last year. And there's a real quick, like charts, same numbers. Now, how many citations have we issued? In 2011, we did 25, the first full year of our ordinance. We're, as you can see, in the second and third year, kind of steady, but that's, like half of what we used to. And so we're showing some positive results from this program. Moving on, service to the community like no other. The ambulance company and the fire companies are so involved in the community, and it's amazing. And these are just a few of the outreach programs that we have. Lee Newbill, the LDS Preparedness Fair that just finished up, and the pancake feed has turned out to be really popular every year. And so we're also available for senior citizens. They want us to come in and visit their home and offer some advice. We're very willing to do that and happy to do it. And our second grade program is like historic. There's kids that are adults now with kids went through that and talk about it, and they're pretty pleased that we're still doing it. And here's some example of a few other programs that we're doing. One thing that is really cool, there's a couple of estates that were donated to the volunteers, and this is an example of some of the monies that was directed towards the volunteers. We bought a fire safety house, smokehouse if you want. The other one we had served many years, and it just became obsolete and through age was not usable anymore. But this is a commercially made one, and there's lots of different features and uses that we can provide. And we're also sharing it with the surrounding communities. Genesee is going to be using it here in the next few weeks. And so this was another really outstanding service that the volunteers are providing for the community. And here we go, some outstanding members of the community, part of a training exercise. And
There's a big guy there.
if you have any questions, I'm willing to.
Ed, thank you for a wonderful
presentation. That false alarm ordinance is really working wonders. A bar graph for the last 5 years sure showed up and showed how it's working. I mean, it's almost 100 less calls from the first year you implemented it, so that's terrific.
Yeah, you can't ask for better than that.
In your department, I mean, for decades and decades, we've enjoyed volunteers that have worked endlessly and tirelessly for our fire department. And these are normal men and women that have full-time jobs and have other functions, and they do this for the love of their community. I believe that deeply. And so, Council, you got something you'd like to share with Ed here while he's here?
Only the congratulations for doing a great job and running a great, great department. We appreciate it very much.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of great leadership, a lot of great participation, and I'm just lucky to have had the opportunity to be fire chief for this community, and I got to share the wealth, because it's amazing the talent in that organization. That's what I have to say.
Wayne?
Chief, the 2 years I was council liaison for the fire department gave me the opportunity to learn more about the operation of it, but more than that, to see the professionalism and especially the camaraderie that you have within that organization. There's a huge amount of pride within that, and self-discipline. And while every organization will have its problem, you've done an excellent job in being able to police those problems internally also. And so, congratulations on all of that.
Well,
thank you.
I'll share that with everyone.
Thanks
Thank
for all
you.
your great work.